Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. We are so close to Christmas. It's just like, where did December go? I don't want to say where the year went because not everything in this year went fast, but um, December seems to have gone pretty fast. I'm in a different spot today. You can see my office back there, my office chair. This is my comfy chair that I sit in. Um, this is like my chair. It's kind of my spot. And a different angle of my tree. Thought I would give you all and just kind of a little glimpse into my life, or a little glimpse into me. So I'm going to get started on, and thank you again to everyone who was enjoying the reading. Uh, Again, like I said, I've never read the books, so this gives me a chance to read the books also and not fall asleep. That's the one I love to read, but as I've gotten older, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, it's early here. It's 6:20 a.m. So let's get started. So we're reading again from our Molly book, and we're starting on chapter 9, with 12 chapters total, and this is a different Christmas. December 21st. Dear Dad, Merry Christmas. How are you? I am fine, except I wish you would somehow magically be home for Christmas. Do you have a Christmas tree in the hospital? I hope so. Grandma and Grandpa are bringing our Christmas tree tomorrow. I hope it's a big one. Right now, Mom is making a wreath for the front door, and Ricky and Brad are listening to the radio. Jill is knitting. I hope you got the presents we sent you. We haven't gotten any presents from you yet. Probably they will come soon. XOXO, XOXO. Hey, Jill said. I don't think you should write that. Molly stopped making X's and O's on her letter and turned around. Jill was behind her, lunging sideways across Dad's chair, her legs dangling over one arm. She was reading the letter over Molly's shoulder. Right what? Said Molly. That part about how we haven't gotten any presents from him? Why not? Jill swung her legs up and down. Because, she said in a very patient voice, Christmas is only 4 days away. By the time Dad gets that letter, Christmas will be over. If he didn't send us any presents, but he did, I'm sure he did, said Molly. Dad would never forget to send us Christmas presents. Jill continued, if he didn't send us any presents, he'll feel bad when he gets your letter. But by then it will be too late for him to do anything about it. And if he did send us presents, he'll feel bad because we never got them. She turned to her mother. Don't you think I'm right, Mom? Mrs. McIntyre was tying a bright red bow on the pine wreath. I think it is Molly's letter, and she should write whatever she wants to write. Jill shrugged. She started to knit again. Brad piped up. Maybe Dad's present was on a plane that got shot down by the Germans and drowned in the ocean. That's possible, said Ricky. Ricky considered himself an expert on fighter planes. Those guys try to shoot down anything that flies. He took aim with an imaginary machine gun and fired at an imaginary plane. Pow, pow, pow. Brad looked up at his mother. Will the Germans shoot down Santa's sleigh? Of course not, said Mrs. McIntyre. She rumpled Brad's hair. I'm sure Santa will get here safe and sound. I hope so, said Brad, and I sure hope he brings me a soldier's hat and a real canteen. Well, just have to wait and see what Santa brings, said Mrs. McIntyre. She stood up and took Brad's hand. Come on. You can help me hang the wreath on the door. Then it's time for bed. Tomorrow is a big day. Grandma and Grandpa are going to bring our Christmas tree. As they walked into the hall together, Miss McIntyre began, "'Twas the night before Christmas," Brad ended, "and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." When they were gone, Jill stopped knitting. Boy, I feel sorry for Brad, she said. Why? Asked Molly. For lots of reasons, said Jill. She tapped the palm of her hand with a knitting needle as she listed each reason. First of all, Dad's gone. It hardly seems like Christmas without Dad here. And on top of that, there are no presents from him. Yet, corrected Molly. No presents from Dad yet. Jill ignored the interpretation. Then there's the Santa Claus business. Brad will be so disappointed when all he gets from Santa are boring presents like socks and handkerchiefs. It's not so bad for us. We're old enough not to mind, but he's still just a little kid. He wants that hat and canteen so badly, he won't understand why he can't have them. Jill stabbed her knitting needle into the ball of yarn. You mean he's not going to get them? Asked Molly. Ricky sat up. Real soldiers need hats and canteens, he said. They don't have any to spare. Molly had an uncomfortable feeling that Jill and Ricky were right. Besides, said Jill, you know how Mom believes it's not patriotic to spend money on unnecessary things like toys. I'm sure all our presents this year will be homemade or hand-me-downs. She stretched and yawned. I'm just glad there's nothing I really, really want, so I won't be disappointed. But that's not true, said Molly. You really want a skating hat like the one you're making for Dolores, don't you? Sure I do, said Jill. So I've been saving my babysitting money to buy one for myself. I know that's the only way I'll get it. It's childish to expect surprises this Christmas. But remember what Dad used to say, said Molly. There are always surprises at Christmas. This year's different, said Jill. This is wartime. There just won't be any wonderful surprises this Christmas. We have to be realistic. Realistic was one of Jill's new words. It always sounded gloomy to Molly. Being realistic meant expecting things to be ordinary and dull. Molly did not want to feel that way about Christmas, and suddenly Molly did not want to be part of this conversation anymore. She stood up and put her letter to Dad in her pocket. Well, I think I'm going to bed now. She hurried out of the room before Jill could say anything else. Realistic, and ran up the stairs 2 at a time. Molly closed the door to her room. She sat on the window seat and looked out at the night. It was very dark. The black sky seemed to push up against her window. There were no stars to pin it back where it belonged. Molly hugged her knees to her chest and thought about what Jill had said. She knew Jill was right about one thing, at least. It would be a simple Christmas. She should expect practical presents, things she really needed, rather than things she dreamed about. Molly hugged her knees tighter. She didn't need presents. She wanted more than anything else. Oh, hold on, guys. Wait a second. I want to make sure I got the right. I didn't miss a page. She didn't need the presents. She wanted more than anything else. A doll. Not a baby doll, but a doll she could have adventures with. Jill would say it was childish and unpatriotic to want something as unnecessary as a doll. And Molly knew it certainly unrealistic to hope for a doll, but she couldn't help it. She couldn't stop hoping that by some Christmas magic, a new doll would be under the tree for her on Christmas morning. She couldn't stop hoping that the magic would bring something from Dad too. Because Dad loved Christmas. It was his favorite time of year. Right after Thanksgiving, he would begin singing Christmas carols. Sometimes he would change the words to make Molly laugh. He would sing, "Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be Molly, fa la 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 la." Every year, Dad made funny presents too, and wrapped them in green tissue paper. No one could wait to open his surprises on Christmas morning. One year he made everyone, even Mom, a kite. The next year everyone got a yo-yo. Molly took her letter to Dad out of her pocket. Should she cross out the part about the presents? Maybe this year Dad was too busy to think of Christmas surprises. Things were probably very realistic where Dad was, in the middle of fighting. Molly sighed. Just then there was a knock on the door, and Molly's mother poked her head in. Her hand was covering her eyes. May I come in? Or is this Santa's workshop? I don't want to see any presents before I'm supposed to. Molly smiled. It's okay, Mom. All my presents are already wrapped and hidden away. Mom sat down in the window seat. You're just like your father. His presents were always wrapped and ready before anyone else's. Not this year, said Molly. I'm beginning to think maybe there won't be any presents from Dad this year. Maybe it's wrong to keep hoping. Now, Molly, don't tell me you've given up on Dad. I don't know, said Molly slowly. I want to think that a present will come. There is still enough time before Christmas. But Molly stopped. She looked down at the letter to Dad. The Christmas tree she had drawn was still cockeyed. But Jill says we have to be realistic. She says the war has made the Christmas different. Miss McIntyre reached over and smoothed Molly's bangs. This Christmas will be different, Molly. Jill is right. We do have to be realistic about some things. We can't pretend there's no war. We can't pretend Dad is home. We can't ignore what's real. But I want Christmas to be special, said Molly. I want Christmas to be full of surprises the way it is when Dad is home. So do I, said her mother. And this Christmas can be special, but it will be up to us to make it special. If Dad can't be here to make our surprises for us, we'll just have to make them for ourselves. She grinned at Molly. I think everyone in the McIntyre family is pretty good at making surprises. I know I have a few surprises up my sleeve, and I bet you do too. She leaned over and gave Molly a quick kiss on the forehead. But it's never wrong to keep hoping for good things to happen. Molly, especially at Christmas time, that's what Christmas is all about, hope. And she turned to close the door behind her. She said, Good night, dear. Don't forget to brush your teeth before you go to bed. Good night, Mom, said Molly. She leaned her forward against the cold window pane. There were no stars to wish on, so she closed her eyes and made her wish deep inside herself. I hope Dad's presents come, and I hope there will be lots of wonderful surprises this Christmas. Well, that ends our different Christmas chapter. Our next one is called Making Surprises. And so right now they're at 4 days, which is 4 days before Christmas. And as Sabrina has reminded me, we're at 4 days before Christmas. So kind of a good story to read today. You guys, thank you for everything. My throat is starting to go. I'm going to go ahead and close the book for now. And we will see you on the flip side. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And remember how much you are cared about and thought of and appreciated. That's, I think, one of the most important things is to appreciate somebody, and we appreciate you all. Honestly, we do. Thank you, everyone. Like, subscribe, and we will talk to you all on the flip side. Bye.